actually we were discussing about the views, actually views and the menus and menu items. So now I'm going to start about queries. Okay, so generally in dynamic
నిన్న వీడియో చూస్తుంటే ఈటీటీ ఉంది కదా, ఎక్స్టెండెడ్ డేటా టేబుల్, దానికి వచ్చేటప్పటికి ఇప్పుడు ఫీల్డ్స్ అంటే ఇప్పుడు 10 to 20 మార్చాలంటే ప్రతి దాంట్లో చేంజ్ చేయాలి. ఓకే, ఇట్లా కాకుండా ఈటీటీ అని చెప్పారు కదా. ఇప్పుడు ప్రతి దానికి ప్రతి ఫీల్డ్ కి ఈటీటీ రాయాలండి, దానికి ప్రతి టేబుల్ కి
every field కి మనం EDT assign అయ్యింటది. We have to do it. We have to assign EDT. That is the best practice.
ఓకే అండి, దాంతో పాటు ఈటీటీ కూడా మనం చేసుకుంటూ ఉండాలంటారా?
EDT, see, if you are creating a new table, if you feel that EDT is required for you, you will create a new. If you want to reuse the standard EDT, we can reuse that also. For example, name. In our scenario, I have used some of the standard EDTs also. If I take student table, the student table, you can see some of the fields, right, which we have taken here. And out of them, name field. For the name field, what is the EDT I have assigned? Name only I have assigned. Name is nothing but, if you see here, the extended data type is name. So this is the standard EDT I have used it here. So this is not created by me. It's a standard EDT.
Okay.
If I go and see that EDT, it's a application platform, sys layer.
Okay.
Okay, to go to that, how do we do? Right click on that field, go to EDT base name.
Okay.
Okay, so this is how actually we go and see. So for others, you know, because for gender, what I used, for gender also I have used the standard.
Okay.
Because the standard is available. Okay. For other two fields, I have created my own EDT for DOB and student.
Okay.
Status also. Okay, based on our comfort, based on the availability, we'll use it or we'll create it.
Okay.
Clear?
Okay.
So now I'm talking about queries concept in AX application. Queries. So 3 ways we can create and we can use the queries. One is query object AOT. Second one is select queries. Select or while select queries. So third one is classes. Okay, so there are 3 ways we can use it. Why queries are required? Queries, actually we do use the queries to fetch the data from the database based on our need. And just a minute.
Carry it, sir. Sorry. Hello.
Hello, వినిపిస్తుందండి? So 3 ways actually. 3 ways in the sense, one is a query object, that is in AOT, and second one is select or while select state queries. The third one is queries using classes.
Okay.
So let us talk about the first one. Okay, these two queries are we'll do by using coding. Okay, we'll write the select statement in the code editor. Okay, even the third one also we'll do this queries by using the code editor, by writing the code. The first one is, it's a query object. So let's talk about the first one, query object. So let's go to application explorer, that is which is having AOT. In AOT, if you go to data model, the data model, you can see queries. So this is the query node. So generally these queries we are going to see now. Okay, there are so many standard queries are available already. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I wanted to create a query for student table, for example. So how do we do? Just add a new item, right click, go to add, select an item, and here you can select the same data model, and you can select the query and give the query name.
Okay.
Okay, student table, add this. Seems you have some delay. Okay, so this is the student table. Then
what is the use for queries?
Use in the sense, that's what I told you, like if you want to fetch the data from the database, okay, if you want to fetch the data and if you want to use the data and show on the form level or report level, okay, or even if you want to get the data and use it in the coding in the editor window also, we will write the queries. So queries are the common thing everywhere. Query in the sense, like asking the database to get the data.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the query which I have created just now. So in the query you can see methods and data sources. Okay, so the main thing is data source. So since I would like to add my student table in the query, select the student table and drag and drop the student table into data sources. I have dragged and dropped here.
Okay, what type of queries generally we use?
Sorry,
what type of queries generally we use?
Depends actually. If you are writing if you're trying to get the data in coding code editor, I mean, say for example, while you're opening a form, if you are fetching data by writing code, so in that case, we'll use the select statements.
Okay.
So you have a separate form where you wanted to fetch the data by without adding some more conditions or more things. So we'll simply create for simple things and all, we'll use the standard object, this AOT query.
Okay.
Okay. That's how we use. So Lakshman is saying your voice is not clear. So how about others?
Oh, not okay, really.
So I don't know. He's saying my voice is not clear.
Okay.
Lakshman, still you have the same issue, or no? It is okay. Lakshman, you can message me. Sometimes your Wi-Fi signal is poor, Anna. He is saying my Wi-Fi signal is poor. If that is the case, then you also has to get the break, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Fluctuates. He's saying it's fluctuating.
Sunil garu. Hello. Hello.
Sorry, tell me.
అంటే అక్కడే మీకు వైఫై వీక్ గా ఉంది అని మెసేజ్ వస్తుందండి, మీ దగ్గర వస్తుందంట.
ఓకే.
ఒకసారి చూడండి. మీరు ఎలాగా మొబైల్ నుంచి కనెక్ట్ అయినట్టున్నారు?
No, I am connected through broadband.
సరే.
I will not do through mobile. Yes.
సరే, పర్వాలేదులేండి.
So he is not getting now. What do we do? Like,
ఓకే.
can we continue or I need to do something from my end?
కంటిన్యూ చేయండి. ఇప్పుడు నాకు వినపడుతుంది, వాడికి వస్తలేదేమో, ఒకవేళ ఆడిది సిగ్నల్ వీక్ గా ఉందేమో. కాకపోతే మెసేజ్ మీ దగ్గరే వస్తుంది అంటున్నాడు. లేకపోతే వెనకాల వైర్ ఉందండి దానికి, మీ వైఫైకి?
No, it's not wiring. It's a completely wireless.
అదే వైఫైకి కూడా వైర్ పెడతాడు కదా కొంచెం. అది ఉంటే పోనీ అది పెట్టండి, పోయి కనెక్ట్ చేయండి. 25 25, 30 బాగానే వస్తుంది కదా.
That is the case. He also has to get the break, right? I don't think so. There is an issue.
Okay.
I have 40 Mbps speed, but it is showing 31 only. 40 plus I have. So what do we do? Shall we continue or?
Continue చేయండి. కూడా అడుగుతాను మళ్ళీ.
Yeah. So once we create this query, so in this query we have added our table, right? So once we add this table, so I mean nothing we are going to do now. It's a single table query, right? So I have added only one table. So once we add the query, in the query, in this data source properties, we have a some of the properties where you need to enable that fields to be shown here. We have added a table, but I cannot see any fields here in this data source, right? So what do we have to do? Right click on the data source properties. Okay, the data source properties, we have to select this dynamic fields property. In the dynamic field property, we have three options. One is no, yes, and unselected. Unselected is nothing but it is not showing any fields. So because we have not selected any fields, so if you change it to yes, so that means it will take all the fields. Whatever the fields are there in that table, it will show all the fields in the data source. Okay, then if you select no, so what will happen? It will we will have an option to select only required fields. You'll have right click on it, go to new and select a field, go to properties. Here you can select your whatever the fields you want from that table. You will see all the table fields, something like this. So so that's how actually we do. So generally, without setting up any this dynamic field property, you will not get any fields in this data source. So default is unselected. You have to select one of the option on the data source properties. So this is the one. Okay. So let me say yes only. So our query fields are populating here. This is fine. Then we have other options: ranges, group by, having, order by. Ranges are nothing but setting up the for filtration. If you want to filter while fetching this query, fetching the data, if you want to set some ranges here, you can right click and create a range, and you can select you can set the field, and on top of that field you can set the value. Maybe if I select like student ID, then the ranges will be on the student ID. And if you want to set the value in the fixed value, we can set here. You know the student ID, we can set here. Okay. So then we have group by and having class and order by. Group by is nothing but when you have the same when you have the same field values, multiple values, you can do grouping. Grouping is nothing but, for example, if you have the student name, the same name, like with the different IDs, for example. So in this case, if I do grouping on this name field, it will automatically show only one record. Okay, based on the fields which you are adding in the grouping. If we add two fields, ID and name, it will show two fields, two records it will show, because the combination grouping is, it will show two records. Grouping in the sense with the same record values, it will combine and it will show as a single record, the grouping. Okay, when you set the grouping on the name, when I set the grouping on the name, you can only get the values for this name field, not other fields. Because how the system can understand, like if I group it on the name, for example, so I have added the name here, grouping. So if I add it on grouping, I will get only wiki. Okay, name value only I'll get it because I have added in the grouping name field. That is valid, right? Yeah, how the system can understand which ID value take it for this name, because two names are there, right? The same name. So that is how the grouping works. Having we'll discuss later. Order by is nothing but setting up the order by, whether it is a ascending order or descending order will be set by using the group by. Sorry, order by. So we can select any of the field. You have to select the data source here, data source, and set the field, and which field we are going to order by, order by. Okay, direction you can set here, descending or ascending. Okay, so this is how our query will be designed. So once our query is ready, this query can be used in the this query can be used in the coding also. We can call this query in the coding in the code editor also. So for this example, what I'll do, I'll create a new form and I'll add this query in the. I'm adding a new form. Go to user interface. Select the form and add the form name. Okay. So I'm adding a new form. So in this form, what I'll do, I'll add this query as a data source. So I'm going to reuse my query object in my new form. Okay. So my form is created. Now I'm going back to this the query which I have created, student table query. Take this query and I am adding into this data source. I have added here. So when you add that query, it automatically creates two nodes actually. One is the data source node, other one is query node. So this is actual query structure. You can see in this. Okay, in this first one. The second one is whatever the query is having, the tables will be shown here as a data source. So in the design level, you can use this data source things to add as a design field actually, not from the above one. Okay, this you can see actually the complete query structure here in this. If you have data sources, multiple data sources in this, you can see that complete structure. What is the main data source, child data source, and all. Okay, the below one it will show all the data sources separately. So student table data source, I'm going to use it. Create a design and set as some. But temporarily, I'm taking custom design, so that however I want, I can design my form design. Let me see. Apply pattern. Select custom design. So I'm just taking only the grid control. Shit. Sorry, I have taken wrong control. Let me take the right control, that is grid control. Go to new. So select the grid control. Yeah, tell me.
ఆడికి అక్కడ బ్రేక్ అయిపోతుందంటే నెట్ సరిగా లేదంట, ఆడు ఆపేయమంటున్నాడు. రేపు పొద్దున కంటిన్యూ చేద్దాం.
Okay, sure. He is using broadband or mobile internet?
రెండు ఉన్నాయండి. మరి ఎందుకో రావట్లేదు అంటాడు, బ్రాడ్బ్యాండ్ రావట్లేదు అంట.
Okay.
మొబైల్ ఏమో సరిగా రావట్లేదు అన్నాడు.
Okay, అండి. Okay then, just 2 minutes. So once I add this fields into this in the grid format, so it will be added here. So your form is ready. So you can open this form and you can use it. So here what we are doing, we are using the query in the data source level. Okay. So okay, Nandi. Okay, fine then. We'll wind up for today and we'll catch up tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow morning, I am not sure because I have 1 minute.
అంటే మీకు ఒకసారి రికార్డింగ్ ఆపేయండి.
Yeah, that's right.